Welcome to part 2 of my mega rant about the Obey Me series. In this part, I go through what killed the hype for me on their newest release, Obey Me Till Death Do Us Part, and my thoughts on Nightbringer, which planted the first seeds of disappointment in the franchise. Obey Me used to be my bread and butter of Otolame games. But one day, that changed. This of course happened after the revolutionary release of Love and Deep Space that catapulted Otolame onto the mainstream market. These games take a considerable amount of time out of your day, so when many had to choose, it was an easy choice. One I'm guilty of. It wasn't one I made consciously, cause in the beginning I was still very much thinking I'd log into both games daily, but slowly one started to fade. Lads was the final nail in the coffin of lost opportunities that Obey Me is. Yet, Obey Me could have stood its own against the Lads hype, never fading with a happy fanbase if not for the company's two ultimate sins, greed and pride. A seed that was planted and became very prominent in their second game, Obey Me Nightbringer, which released a year before Lads did. Obey Me, despite being their best game, isn't free of issues, and over time wasn't reaching the hype it used to have. So, in a desperate attempt to stay relevant, the idea was pitched, a second game. So when we heard of this announcement, hope and excitement lit up our hearts. A new game meant they could improve their mature writing, make a better rhythm game, fix some flaws here and there, and add some new fun features. A naive thought, because not all that happened, which would ultimately lead to more disappointment from the fans who would eventually all switch to Love and Deep Space. Obey Me Nightbringer did improve one thing, the rhythm game. The writing quality stayed about the same, while the feel of the app was updated to a more modern vibe, which I think was a massive mess up and downgrade to the original, whose gothic aesthetic gave it its identity. Other than that, the main selling points of this version were supposed to be 3D models. An interesting idea, except that they sucked. The models were nightmare fuel with cringe-worthy animation. It looked cheap and was no hook for me. As I can imagine, it wasn't for many others either. So essentially what they did was ignore the actual issues the community had with their game and dangle a new purely executed feature in front of our noses to keep us around. Completely misunderstanding their community, as frustrated fans stopped paying money, Solmer made the painful decision to discontinue the Obey Me games. This is where we thought the saga would end, where hope went to die. Till, after months of nothing, a random ad popped up. Obey Me Until Death Do Us Part was officially in production. Joy flooded my Obey Me loving heart and whimsy came back to my life. I couldn't wait. I had hopes and dreams and they all went to die when I saw the first image of how they massacred my boys. Oh my god, what had they done? The original models had been replaced with new ones that have the smooth, shiny, cheap-looking art style. If you watch my previous videos of this series, you know what a crucial part the looks were for Obey Me. The models now look soulless. These aren't my boys. That ain't Beale. That's Meal. That ain't Lucifer. That's Crucifer. That ain't Satan. That's Nathan. And the layout, it looked like they were making a Lads clone, but a cheap one. And oh boy, cheap it is. So when the day came when it released, I was pre-registered as usual. It downloaded and I didn't open it. Days passed and it sat there collecting dust as I scrolled through Reddit, seeing everyone complain about how bad the outfits, the designs and everything was. They took the one thing they had going for it and trampled, then spat on it. That's when I decided I need to sit down and rant my ever-loving soul out. Now, filled with sadness and rage at how my boys look, I have to play the game and see just how bad the situation has gotten. Since I know I'm no fan of the art already, I almost want to believe the story will be nice. But fool me once, Solmare, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. I'm almost certain the story will be no better than in their other two games. If there even is a story, considering they just want to rip off the lad's interaction screen. So that's it for this part. See you all in the final rant, cause I'm about to burn this house down.